Kenny discussed how today's defensive practice wasn't up to standard. How would you describe the practice today?
Yeah, just it's a combination of a few things. Just the early morning practice and getting guys going and locked in, and really it's really just a mentality type thing with a few of our guys, and understanding the importance of bringing it every day, and understand that it's one thing that we control is the process. And as coaches, we're not results oriented, we're process oriented. So when things go bad, we're not going to flip the script and pour more work on it or figure out. What we're going to do is we're going to continue with that process and continually tweak it. For the players, it's about absorbing the information and being able to apply it in practice, and we didn't start the practice off the right way today.
Do you think that has to do anything with the fact that you guys are currently 5-1, that now that you guys have kind of seen some success, it's harder to kind of keep that underdog mentality, or just kind of come in every day with that?
No, I don't think it's that. I think that there's days that you practice really well and you're rolling, and then there's days where you bring some adversity. Early morning, getting up a half an hour earlier than you did yesterday, and right now you're getting up an hour and a half earlier than you normally are, and getting the juices flowing and getting to work, because the last half of practice was actually really good. It was the first part of practice, just getting these guys going and getting these guys up to standard. It was a challenge for us coaches.
What strikes you most, Brian, about Cincinnati's offense?
They're just they're explosive. That's the thing. I know that their identity is to set up everything off the run, but you just see some of the explosive touchdowns that they've had this year, the speed that they have on offense. That's the thing that really jumps out.
How does that compare to a lot of other schemes you guys have played in the Big 12, run-heavy offenses and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, you could say they're run-heavy, but they run the football, they throw the football, they're very balanced. They're as dynamic as any team that we've seen, maybe even a touch more.
You're obviously used to going up against Jeff on offense and practice a lot. How did you think Sims looked like now that we know that he's going to be the starter? Anything different that you noticed coming from him?
No, not really. He's a talented dude, and he has, his ceiling is through the roof. So, I'm excited to see what he can do.
Coach, you talk about responding to adversity. From week one to now, obviously the defense has had its challenges. I know, coaches talk about third down, but just kind of making the plays each game. How have you seen them do that from game one through the Utah game?
Yeah, it's about bringing it every day and just their approach. And again, that's the thing, is we understand the process, we understand our strengths, and we got to manage our weaknesses and make our weaknesses, whatever it may be, personnel wise, or knowing how teams are going to attack our scheme, making those things, weaknesses that aren't going to get us beat. So we're just continuing to move forward and continuing to really implement our standard and what our expectation is, and trying to get these guys caught up to what our expectation is, and what our defensive culture is going to be.
As a coach, how fulfilling was it to see Caleb play the game that he did with all that he's been through here and sticking it out at Arizona State?
It's awesome. It just what he did on Saturdays is just a byproduct of doing things right and doing things really hard. And talk about a guy that just manages the process. That's the one thing that he can control. When he gets an opportunity, making the most of it. And that's really what it's all about. Is guys sticking it through hard times, not running from adversity, and not running from challenges, and maybe things aren't exactly what they want it to be. And he didn't do that. He stuck his nose in it and had the game of his life on Saturday. And hopefully there's more games like that from him to come.
What are your thoughts on Keith, and had one of his better games last game, and how he's continued to progress along, playing a starter role this year?
Yeah, it's what his expectation is of himself. It's what our expectation is of him, and he's just continuing to improve. And playing the corner position, there's challenges each week, and the ability to have success and manage that success, and then hit some adversity and get hit in the mouth a little bit and be humbled, and then be able to come back. That's really what playing corner, being a elite corner, is all about. You got to have a short memory, and it's kind of cliche, but he really is a guy that just gets back to work in everything he does.
Sorsby has an outlier first half like he did last week with the 2 interceptions. Is that a situation where you try and replicate what UCF did to put him in those positions, or you're just trying to game plan against him on the season?
Yeah, I mean, we have our own process, and we do our things. We see what his strengths are, and maybe some things that we can take advantage of, hopefully. But really, it's about us. It's not really about the quarterback or his, who he is and what he did last week. Because as you guys know, when you play 70 snaps a game, you make 2 mistakes. A lot of people like to dwell on those mistakes rather than the good things that he did. And I've seen a lot of good things from him.
Halfway point of the season, having more depth this year to get through the back half, how do you think that's going to be able to elevate you guys and your sustainment of the defense? Well,
I mean, the fact that all these guys have gotten so many reps, and again, being consistently good is what our goal is. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that I think that we've managed up to this point this season. I don't know what we're giving up points per game or what, but ultimately it all boils down to that. You know what I mean? Like, we can talk about yards rushing and first and second down defense and third down defense. The bottom line is our job is to get the ball back and to keep people from scoring. And as long as we can continue to grow in those areas, and we have the depth to be able to overcome injuries, and we do in some spots and we don't in others, and those other spots have to continue to develop. So we need to continue to move forward with that.
Red zone defense was an area you guys improved in last game. How were you guys able to be effective in the red area?
Same thing, just managing the process. Like, that was a big to-do about the first 3-4 games of the year, is that we weren't as good in the red zone as we wanted to be. You don't change the plan. You know what I mean? You don't change what has worked, and you put your players in the best position to be successful. You get them ready to anticipate what offenses are going to do and what the situations are. And as soon as they start to really understand it and be comfortable in those situations, that's when you see teams really flourish and defensive teams flourish. And that's what they did in the red zone. They felt very confident and comfortable, and it started with us coaches, and we were ready for what they gave us last week in the red zone.
Good.
Thank you.